Good afternoon, all of you Facebook and YouTube followers out there. Welcome back. This is Michael with Cooking and Canning with Michael. And for dinner tonight, we're doing a recipe that I saw online. We're again going to use our Power Quick Pot, or some of you out there may have an Instant Pot, and it's a pressure cooker. So we're going to use that to make this dish, and it is called, we're going to make it a goulash, but it's Hungarian goulash. So this is one of those, according to the recipe, this is one of those meals that you will fix. You'll pull together and you'll fix it, and you'll serve it, and everybody will go, oh my goodness, make the goulash again, make the goulash again. And it's so wonderful. So I'm hoping to have that reaction when I taste it. We're going to serve it over some egg noodles. And prep time, they say, is about 5 minutes. Cook time is about 47 minutes. So a total of about 52 minutes to get this meal on the table. So let me show you the ingredients that we have here. And we'll get started on this. Okay, so for this recipe, we are going to need 4 tablespoons of butter divided. So each one of those is 2 tablespoons. We're going to need a large yellow onion. We are going to need 2 tablespoons of paprika. You can use regular paprika, smoked paprika, or Hungarian paprika, which has a little kick to it. I'm just using the regular. 1 teaspoon of caraway seeds. It sounded interesting to me. We'll see how that turns out. You need, of course, the star ingredient, chuck roast. One of the local stores had chuck roast on sale, so I bought a chuck roast. You need about 2 to 3 pounds. This one is 4.34, so I may cut some of it off and use it for something later. You are going to need 1.5 cups of beef broth. You are going to need 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 can, 14.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes. Going to need 1/4 cup of ketchup, 3 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of seasoned salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper. I'm sorry, did I say this should be a tablespoon of seasoned salt? 1 teaspoon of pepper. We are going to need some baby carrots. And that's pretty much, I'm going to add at the end some whole potatoes to mine, and maybe some chopped up, not real thin slice, but sliced mushrooms. And that's it, other than a cornstarch slurry that we will make towards the end, and that's 2 tablespoons of cornstarch with 2 tablespoons of water to thicken up our juices that come off of the roast and everything, to make it more like a gravy. So I'm going to go ahead and do the prep work, chop the onion, chop the meat up, and we'll get going. Be back in a bit, folks. Alrighty. Okay, I just want to show you this. I sliced the onions up long ways, so they're a nice size onion, and I've tried to separate as many of them as I can. They'll finish separating while they're sauteing. And the meat, I cut up in nice big chunks, and because after all, it is a goulash, and beef is the main ingredient. Those are going to cook up, melt in your mouth tender, according to the recipe. So let's get started on this. Alrighty, y'all. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to the pot. And we're going to hit our saute button. And we are going to go for the On this one, you go for vegetables, And I can't go high, but I can set the temperature high. I'm going to go up to 360. And there we go. We're going to wait for this butter to melt. I'm going to continue to pick at these onions a bit here and separate them. That looks good. Every time I cook with onions, I think of my dear dad, who's still with us, thank goodness. He turned 80 this year. I turned 60. He turned 80. And many years ago, when I was just a kid, Dad got put in the hospital with some stomach problems. And all they could find out at that time was he had to be careful with the acid that he put into his stomach. And certain things were the trigger for either adding acid or triggering acid in his stomach, and onions was one of them. He loves onions, but he just can't eat them to this day. So when you cook for him, everything has to be without onion. Something about onions and also caffeinated coffee will trigger, I guess it's an acid reflux, and it'll actually create other problems for him. So he can drink decaf coffee, and occasionally my mother would sneak in onion powder and stuff like that, but and that seemed to be fine, but she knew exactly how much to put in there without causing a problem. And yeah, I always think of that. And I grew up somehow in a household where no one ate onions. I love onions. I developed a taste for onion and love it. All right, so that 2 tablespoons of butter is melted. So we're going to add our onions. And we're going to give them a stir so they get all coated in the onion. And we're going to let these cook for about 3 minutes. Alexa, set an onion timer for 3 minutes.
Onion timer, 3 minutes. Starting now.
So I moved the Instapot over here onto the stove, thinking it would give you a better view, but there's still no way to show you what's going on in the pot, really. If I can, I'll try from time to time to take a peek in the pot with the camera. Oh, I love the smell of onions sauteing. I think I'm going to add just... It says you can add a little more paprika if you like. I think I shall. I'm going to add about another tablespoon. because I love paprika. While we do this, you want to keep the bottom of the pan clean. Don't want anything to burn on it. I'll set my timer up for, let's go 30 minutes, so it doesn't shut off on me halfway through. If you have an Instant Pot, you would press your, I'm not sure, I guess you would press your saute button and go for the more setting so that it gets hotter. This will make for a great leftover meal as well later on. Alexa, stop.
Your onion timer is done.
Okay, so now we're going to add our caraway seed and our paprika. We're going to stir that around so the onions get all nice and coated in that paprika. Okay, and because we don't want that to burn, we're going to take this other butter and add it now. Let me show you the pot. So here's what we got going on. Onions are nice and coated in paprika. And we're just trying to get this other butter to melt. Where'd it go? There it is. Alrighty. I have to get me a better scraper. Let's see. Let's use this. You don't want stuff on the bottom of the pan, because when you go to pressure cook it, it can affect it building up pressure. It can also burn on the bottom. So now we're going to add our meat. We want to stir that around so it gets coated. Alexa, set a goulash timer for 3 minutes.
Goulash timer, 3 minutes, starting now.
And we're wanting the meat to get just lightly brown on the edges. Woo! That's a good workout. Keep scraping the bottom. I can already tell you this is going to be good, y'all. This is going to be good. You know, American goulash is really different. It's macaroni and green peppers and hamburger usually, and but in Hungary, it's a whole different thing. It's a more hearty meal. And again, I believe that goulash just means a mix of things like masala and other things.
I don't know that, but I do have a skill you might like. It's called bark like a dog. Want to try it?
Sure.
Okay, here's bark like a dog. That was my Bernedoodle. Now you pick one. Choose any breed of dog.
Chihuahua.
Here is my Chihuahua.
Alexa,
Noodles.
stop. Gotta love Alexa sometimes. Further proof, she's always listening. All right, some of the fat is starting to render off of this beef, so it's helping to deglaze the bottom of the pan.
Your goulash timer is done.
Alexa, stop. Alrighty, so we're going to get ready to add everything else. Go ahead and open up my tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and open my potatoes. And I'm going to drain my potatoes. Actually, you know, I think I'll wait since those are already cooked. I think I'm going to wait and add those at the end and wait for them to heat up a bit when it's all done, along with the mushrooms. He says you could double this in a 6-quart. I don't know. Mine's pretty full as it is. I'm just kind of waiting for all this meat to get nice and browned. Sometimes recipes aren't perfect. Really? Really? Okay, that's probably good enough. So I'm going to add my wine. I'm using a Cabernet Sauvignon, which is a very dry wine. I guess you could use a red blend. Whatever you use, make sure it's a dry wine. I'm going to add my beef broth. Give that a stir. I'm going to add my vinegar, my seasoned salt, my pepper, my brown sugar, and my ketchup. don't mock me for ketchup. It adds good flavor. And a nice color. All right. Smell that wine. If you don't want to use wine, you could just boost the beef broth up to 2 cups instead of 1.5. But I have found that wine adds, the alcohol burns off and it leaves a really rich flavor in the sauce. So, all right, I'm going to add the tomatoes. So here's what we got going. You can see how nice, there's a nice rich red color in the meat. There you go. It is almost like a stew instead of a what we would think of as a goulash. Well, there, all in the trash. All right, so now I'm going to wipe down this rim. And we're going to put the pressure lid on. I'm going to hit off. I'm going to lock my lid in place. And we are going to hit pressure cook. I'm going to set it to beef. And we're going to go high. And I want to set the timer to 30 minutes. And there we go. Oh, I forgot to add my carrots. Hold on. We've got to add our carrots. These are baby carrots that I'm using. You'll need about 2 cups. Let's see, this was a pound. 16 ounces is 2 cups, so there we go. You're going to throw those in there. Give that a quick stir. Okay. Now we'll pressure cook it. Pressure, beef, high, timer, 30 minutes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this over here a bit so I can put a pot on for the egg noodles. So let me go ahead and get all this stuff in the dishwasher and get cleaned up a little bit here. I got to freeze that piece of meat that I cut off. And we'll get the potatoes and the mushrooms ready to go. And we'll be back in a bit. Alrighty. Hear it? The pressure's building. Pretty soon it'll lock. Oh, great. There we go. It's starting to pressure cook. Hey folks, while we're waiting on that, I just wanted to give you all a tip. You know these little bowls I use when I prep my meals and I put all my separate ingredients in them? Don't go to the store and pay expensive prices for these. I get mine at the Dollar Tree. I go into the Dollar Tree, and I think you get 3 or 4 of these for $1. They're glass. If one falls and breaks, or after 3 or 4 of them break, go to the dollar store, spend $1, and get more. And you can get as many of them as you need. I have quite a few. So that's just a tip for you. Don't pay full price for those kind of things. I shop the dollar store from time to time for a lot of things. I'm watching my diet now, but they're a great place to get cookies if you like cookies. Stuff that you would pay $3 and $4 for in a regular store, you can get for $1 at the Dollar Tree. And so I just dried my board. I bleached it real good since I had that raw meat on it. And so yeah, this is going to cook for 30 minutes now. Once it's sealed, it's going to come up to pressure and it's going to start cooking up. I'm going to go ahead and fill my pot with some hot water and get the process started for making my noodles. And we're going to go from there. I looked at the bottom of the recipe, and the guy who did this, and I'll include the recipe down below as usual. Want potatoes as well as carrots? Add in a nice handful of baby white or red potatoes halved. Nothing changes cook time wise or anything, but he's talking raw potatoes there, and I've got a can of the ones that are already cooked, so I'm going to have those and get those ready. And so, alrighty, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, everybody, the timer just went off. So now what we're going to do is what's called a natural release. We're going to do that for 10 minutes. So we are going to wait for, we're going to go ahead and put it on keep warm and let it count up to 10 minutes. That's perfect because that'll give me time to cook the noodles. So we'll be back as soon as the noodles and the pressure cooker is ready to do a quick release on it. So, all right, we'll be back. Okay, we're going to go ahead and drain these noodles. These are not the egg noodles that I like. These are medium. I prefer extra wide, but they'll do. Put those back in the pot. And what I'm going to do is give them just a little butter to keep them separated. Alexa, stop. Just a little pat of butter on them. Give that a stir and put the lid on it. Put that back here. All right, we're at 10 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and release the rest of the pressure. And get a plate out. Oh, it smells wonderful. You can smell the caraway seeds. That should do. As I mentioned, I've been watching what I eat, so I noticed the other day, I think it was yesterday as a matter of fact, that I was getting ready to go to an appointment for physical therapy, and I looked in the mirror and I could see a little bit of slendering in the face, and the arms have slendered down a bit. So since starting this in December, we've already lost, well, late November. I kind of used the whole COVID thing as a kickoff for this, so something positive came out of that. And since I've started it, I have lost 28 pounds. So we've got quite a few more to go, but we're going to get there this year. This is the year I'm going to end up being half the man that I am right now. So wish me luck. So, all right, this is almost done. I'm just waiting for the pin to drop. Waiting. There it goes. All right. I'm going to set this over here. Let's take a look at what we got in the pot. Looky there. Look at this wonderful, wonderful goulash. So now what we need to do is thicken this. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my mushrooms and my potatoes. Let me go ahead and throw in the mushrooms. And my potatoes. Potatoes. Give that a stir. Beef looks really tender. Alright, so now I'm going to cancel. We're going to put it on saute one more time. And we're going to set the temperature up to the highest, 360, and we're going to let it come up to a bubble. And I've got my cornstarch slurry ready here. I'm just going to re-stir it. If it sits a while, it'll all settle on the bottom again. So just give it a stir gently, because you don't want to splash this everywhere. Oh, this looks wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful red color. Right now it's more of a stew, but I guess when we add this thickener, it'll be more of a gravy, which would make it more of a goulash. Just waiting for this to come up to a boil again. Oh, I guess I should turn it on, huh? That's the problem. There we go. It's getting there. It's getting there, folks. I'm going to go ahead and measure my noodles. Everything's about measurements anymore. Here, let's do this. I have some other recipes coming up, hopefully later this week. I've got a Instant Pot Japanese Steakhouse Soup that's coming up, and we are going to make an awesome queso dip. So be looking forward to those videos. There's my pasta. It was a generous 1 cup. I haven't ate much today, so it'll be okay. Come on, come up to a boil. I hear it trying. There we go. It be getting there. All right, so now we're going to pour this cornstarch in here, and we're going to stir continuously while we add it. And we're going to let it cook a bit. Get rid of that. That's my dog, Johnsy, making himself known to the neighbor dogs. Thickening up really good here. That looks good. Cancel. And now you know me, what I like to do is remove the pot so it doesn't continue to cook all the time. There we go. I'm going to move you over here. I'm going to move my plate over here. And I'm going to set this up here. And I'm going to show you what we've got now. So look at this now. Look at this. Look how thick that gravy got. I mean, it's not like sausage gravy, but it's a thicker consistency. So, all right, we're going to dish this up over our noodles. Alrighty, so there it is. Hungarian goulash on a bed of egg noodles. We are going to go eat. I am going to go ahead and go eat and enjoy. I've already tasted the beef. It's as tender, it just melts in your mouth. The carrots still have body, but they just melt in your mouth as well. So you all, let me turn you around. So you all have a good evening. Bon appetit. Remember that life is beautiful. And I'm going to go and enjoy my dinner. Don't forget to tune in later this week. So we do that Instapot Japanese steakhouse soup, and the queso we're going to make. Oh, I can't wait to taste that. So, and we'll make some homemade tortilla chips to go with that. Alrighty. Thank you all for tuning in. If you can, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, like the video, share the video. On YouTube, subscribe and share the video with your friends and family. I'm trying to get my subscribers up, so help me do that, will ya? All right. Good night. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. So, hey, everybody. I just wanted to follow up the video with this. That Hungarian goulash was amazing. The sauce, the gravy. Oh, such flavor. If you make it with just the beef broth, you're missing out on a whole lot, because that Cabernet Sauvignon, the wine, gave it such a rich flavor. The only gripe I had is the noodles were too small. They were hard to pick up and eat. So in the future, I'll be sure to get extra wide egg noodles to use with this dish. But oh my, the potatoes heated up just right. The mushrooms cooked just right at the end there. And it was a wonderful dish. I'm going to, as you could tell, I had a ton of it. So we're going to put that in some, in the food saver bags. And we're going to put that in the freezer for future use. I'm going to take a dish to work tomorrow as leftovers. And yeah, you got to try this. It's wonderful. I don't think the meat was so tender. The carrots just melted in your mouth. And it was just awesome. It was just awesome. So anyway, again, have a good evening. Alrighty, bye-bye.